Hello everybody, Big Seven here, back for some more AFL SuperCoach content. I finally had a decent week, scored 2463, which was enough to move me up about 5,500 positions into around 12k. Still well off the what my pass mark would be of top 1k. And as with all things SuperCoach, you can't have a decent week without something happening. So in my case, it was Max Holmes. He would be highly owned amongst top coaches, but yeah, he was out, I think, injured in the third quarter against, that was Thursday night, feels like forever ago, against St Kilda, yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be out for the year, although I should probably double check that, have they put an injury list out, but it's also Geelong, so there's no way we're getting a timeline on this, right? It's just going to be like, we are 8 to 10 weeks. So very surprising from Geelong. Normally used to their TBC shenanigans, but yeah, Max Holmes unfortunately will be out for the regular season, so it looks like he will be back around about first or second week of finals. So for the Supercoach season, yeah, you can. He's another one that needs to be traded out. So obviously Cobbs Butters last week. Joe Richards is out for a few weeks. I think there's someone else I'm forgetting as well. Bailey Dale out as well. So yeah, for those that have kept a few trades in the bank, you're doing well. For those that have been following, I essentially finished the team with 23 premiums, 4 trades left, and elected to go down to 2 trades. 24 premiums, and I'm including Jordan Clark, Worrell, Thilthorpe, Petrarca as premiums, even though they're not. I would have, Callahan, pretty underwhelming since I've got him as well, but we finally got a good performance out of round 142, so it isn't all doom and gloom. Things are never as bad as they seem. Things are never as good as they seem. There's always somewhere in the middle, so it hasn't been a great season by my standards, like I've said. And down to one trade, Max Holmes obviously looms as a must trade out. Let's take a look at who people are trading in, I guess, because I guess it's going to be all... if we go top 1%, Max Holmes out is in all of them. So, yeah, a lot of people impacted by Holmes, but who are the people that Holmes traders, Holmes owners are trading in? Callum Mills, he's had a really good run. He's gone like 110 since like round 11. So yeah, post buy form 87 against St Kilda, and then all hundreds from there. I think I did mention him as like a alright pottish option around that time, but yeah, he's been far better than I expected. And 537k, if you had a lot of trades, then maybe you would say price is like a tad high, but he's in good enough form. I can't really hate on him as a trade-in. Miller, I like as a pick. And I said it with Rankin last week. These guys that are like injury-prone kind of players, the closer it gets to the end of the year, the better picks they are, because it's less of a time frame that they have to survive. Like Miller, I think he played 23 or 22 last year, and he played 22 last year. So, and then I think he's only missed 1 or 2 this year. So, in seasons past, like 3 games there, 12 games there, he hasn't been durable, but. Last year he at least played 22, and this year's played most games. So maybe he's finally figured out his body. But, that being said, like these more injury-prone players, they become better as the season goes along, because they don't have to survive a full year. So I would have been shocked if you told me that Miller would play as many games as he did just with his history, but he has. And with only a few games left to go, some really good matchups in there. I think Collingwood was a good matchup, Essendon's good, Richmond's good. Last couple, maybe not as much, but those next 3 look pretty good. I think I would prefer him as a trade-in over Mills, although this is top 1% as well. There's sometimes a bit of byplay, especially amongst like the top teams, where it's like, all these people going for like popular options, and you want to pivot away from that, and that's totally fine. Probably like if you're in the top couple of hundred and you want to be a bit different. Otherwise, I think just pick best available, and I think Miller is the best defender option in like that Holmes price range. Wilkie, he's there as well. I said it last week. He's got 190 the week before. That's not going to continue. I don't want to buy the peak on players, and like people that bought the 191 peak were rewarded with a 74 last week. So, look, he probably does 100 flat for the rest of the year. Richmond's a good matchup. But yeah, I would rather get Miller, I think. For those that are more cashed up, Nasiah is the standout option. He was the standout option when who else in defence went down? Sinclair, yes. When Sinclair went down, it was like, Nasiah is the best option, but he was out of range. The 57, that came as a result of a tag. And then it's just, he could potentially get some attention in these next two matchups, North and Sydney. North can use Finis Alvin. Sydney can use James Jordan. Carlton used Cowan as a tagger. I think that was that Voss's last game or something. I don't remember if that was Voss or Fraser that did that, but I guess the thing about worrying about tags is that's exactly what I did earlier in the year, and it was just like I was worried that West Coast were going to tag with Hoff, and then they didn't, and he scores 150. So I don't want to be too worried about potential tags. I only want to be worried about definite. And I think it was a definite that Geelong were going to tag him. It's a definite that Sydney send Jordan to him. North is a maybe. Carlton is a low maybe, and then the other two won't tag. So I still want Nasiah rest of the year. The sticking point is obviously that price point, 640k. You need to have about 75k banked over to get Holmes to Nasiah. But the other thing is, with the poor score against Geelong, the break-even is 182. So for people that have like Hawker Hahn cover, and maybe you're sitting on like 40, 50k in the bank, or maybe even less than that, you want to run the gauntlet and get Nas in a bit later. If you've got Hawker Hahn, he plays on the Thursday night, and you can essentially see what he does, and maybe he's good enough as like a 1 or 2 week cover for Max Holmes before you let Nasiah tank in price and get like Holmes to Nasiah in one trade. So that is a very valid option for people with Hawker Hahn. Bailey Smith, I brought him in last week. I didn't go through my trades, but my trade last week, singular, was Butters to Smith. Did think about getting like Heaney or even Dawson was an option, but I just, in my position, it just seemed too straightforward, the Bailey Smith trade-in with the run, and scored 120 on the weekend. Still a good trade-in at 570k, as is Dawson. Dawson last week, I think he got some attention as well from James Jordan. So 74 you can find excuses for, but prior to that, the form's pretty solid. So Collingwood, Essendon, of Richmond, Fremantle, GWS. I think I would actually trade in Dawson over Smith, maybe. It's a toss-up. I'd be tempted to go for like a lower ownership play in Dawson there. I'm pretty sure he's lower ownership. I should actually double-check that. So Dawson, oh no, he's at 28. That's higher than I realised. And then Bailey Smith is at 37. Yeah, so Dawson is the lower owned play. So I'd be tempted to go Dawson over Smith if I was making the trade this week. I went Smith over Dawson last week though, knowing that the Jordan tag was there. So I think I would go Dawson out of those two if you're using that midfield spot to get a Holmes replacement. Bowie, he's a bit of a cheeky pod, 501k. I think he's probably more a next year pick rather than this year, but he's scoring decently. Coming off the match against Richmond 133 and then North 125. I think he's probably like a high 90s, maybe 100 flat from here on out. Richmond match is obviously good. And yeah, I don't think there's any really good matchups in there for the rest of the season for Bowie, but he can still score okay. Just seems a bit too pottish. I'd rather go Miller in that instance. And yeah, Holmes 561k, so probably not really many scenarios where you're like desperate to save that 10k and get Bowie over Miller. I think I would just do that. Isaac Rankin, this is D-Day for him. Break even of 9, been in fantastic form, but he comes up against Collingwood, who he's had nightmares about. Had that incident with Quainer, had the incident where umpire pinged him for running too far as his hamstring pinged at the same time, and also has history with Dan Houston in the showdown. So if you're a Rankin owner this week, you're probably a little bit scared knowing that history, but it should all pan out okay. The form is fantastic, and after that Collingwood matchup, Essendon and Richmond should be grouse matchups for Rankin. So would I trade him in? Yeah, I think it's fine if you need a forward option. And then Neil and Heaney, two pretty solid options. Heaney's kind of tapered off a bit, but you kind of expect him to bounce back at some point. Essendon matchup, that can easily be a 180. St Kilda, I feel like he torches in the past. Maybe not. I guess hasn't torched any of these three teams in the recent history, but that doesn't mean he can't pull out a 160 out of nowhere. I still think Heaney's a solid option. And then Neil, I think if you were going to trade him in, like you would have preferred to do it last week with the West Coast matchup, but Bluesy went 121 against earlier in the year. Decent recent history against Port. Collingwood should be a decent matchup. So yeah, I don't mind the Neil trade-in. I think I would prefer like Smith or Dawson, but maybe you've already got both of those two, and Neil is a fine option as well. Is anyone trading out players other than Holmes? I guess you're really only making those sideways trade-outs if you've got a lot of trades left, but really, I think most are in the position of you've thrown the paper aeroplane, it's kind of wobbling, and you don't want to do anything and like push it down and upset the balance. Like it's only so many trades to survive the end of the year, and having those trades in hand is a big advantage. So Holmes obviously got a trade out. Dale, available for final, so probably a trade out if you've got one. Butters, he's out. Maybe he will get to round 24. So, like, if you had Holmes and you held Butters for some reason, then Butters would be the one to hold, and you hope that he gets back for round 24 in that farewell game. Hawker Hahn, all these rookies. If you need to like do one up, one down, maybe you avoided like the Holmes carnage, and you want to get like a 24th premium, then maybe you cash in two of these guys out, like Dirksen, Hawker Hahn, Ison, Edwards, Herbert, Fitzgerald, Cumming. Any of them can go if it's going to put your team into a better place. Break-evens aren't really that important unless you like need one more week of cash out of these guys. They're all pretty expendable at this point of the year. All right, so my plans going forward. I've got the one trade left. As mentioned earlier in the video, though, 24 premiums, which I don't think a lot of people have got to that spot. And we say premiums with, quote unquote premiums because, guys like Clark, Worrell, Callahan's underperforming, but hopefully bounces back. Sanders, Petrarca, Philthorpe. It's just far from an ideal team, but at least we do have some guys that can score well, and hopefully they actually start delivering on that potential. But with that in mind, I kind of think I want to go down the same path as the Hall Kahan owners, and instead of like having Hall Kahan cover, it's basically I would have Philthorpe cover, who I was able to bench last week because I had 24. So in order to do that, Holmes slots onto the mid bench. Sanders goes to midfield, and Philthorpe goes to the forward field. And yeah, the plan would be to get Nasai next week from Max Holmes. So if I try and do that now, the site will be very cruel to me and say, no, you cannot afford Nasai and you cannot have him. About 26k short. So the break even is around, it's 182. So if he needs to lose 26k, probably needs to go about 58 to 62 below that break even. So like a 120. I think I can get Nasai next week with the way break evens and magic number works. So hopefully, for my sake, gets a bit of attention from Finn O'Sullivan. Otherwise, even if he scores decently this week, like if I go down and look at these projections, projected 136. So even if he does that, drops 20k, the break even is still high going into that Sydney matchup. So I might be in a scenario where I have to wait 2 weeks for Nasai to come down and then snaffle him up for those final 3 fixtures. But those are the 3 juicy ones anyway, so I think that's going to be my plan moving forward. I also could just get a midfielder in. I could get like a Dawson type. I think he would be the one that I would go for. Is there anyone else in midfield that I like? I can afford pretty much anyone. But yeah, I don't want to pay 600 for Ashcroft. And I think more importantly, I want that defence cover in case, let's just say, I don't really want to say a name and curse it, but let's just say Jordan Clark is out for the year. He gets injured next week and he's out for the year. By getting that defender midfield, then I can just park Clark on the bench for the year and have 6 premiums in defence playing. So I think I would prefer to take Nas for that reason. But yeah, I think there is an argument to say, you could just get, I could just get Dawson this week and then run the gauntlet with defenders. But yeah, it's just those 1 to 2 week injuries that can happen. I want to have cover for that. So, and with the defence bench that I've got, Perez and Carmichael, like Perez maybe gets his spot back. I haven't really been following Hawks VFL, but you would think it's unlikely. And then Carmichael, I don't think he's going to play this year, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, with that non-existent cover in defence, I think I just need to get that defence mid option. Whereas, like, if it happened in midfield, then like at least Fitzgerald could be cover. Like, if I copped a couple of midfield injuries, 24, I'm very glad that I didn't have to field that this week, and I got to field the 100 last week. Very fortunate there. But yeah, I want that flexibility to be able to cover a defence 1 to 2 weaker if I have to. So we hold on to Holmes, and there could even be a scenario next week where Nasai loses only 15k, but someone more expensive like Bontempelli, hopefully he doesn't. But it could be a scenario where someone more expensive gets injured, and then I can do whoever gets injured to Nas in one trade rather than having to wait the extra week. So that is likely to be my plan for this absolute train wreck of a team that somehow scored 2,400 last week and had a good rank rise. I mean, that was probably due to Nas having a poor one, and all of my rucks outscoring Max Gorn somehow, even though they combined for less than 300. So yeah, probably a bit lucky there, but hopefully can make up some ground, and hopefully you guys can as well. It is kind of that time of the year where it's like everything's on autopilot. There's really not a lot you can do. All you can hope for is that players stay fit and healthy, and that your competition fumbles and crumbles around you. So, and before I forget, let's get into some vice captains and captains. I have been cooking on these recently. I think my 5-round average is around about 150, although a lot of people will be around that kind of range as well. So, Bond captain last week, pretty awesome. Bond captain the week before, 152. Week before that, she's a 180. So, really finding some good form with the captains, and hopefully can land another one. Yeah, Dacos 154 the week before that. So, in great form with the captains. Adelaide and Collingwood, I think Dacos is fine, although, I think Adelaide's midfield was pretty leaky at the start of the year, although I'm not sure how leaky they are now. So I think Dacos is fine. Gawn against Geelong, I think, is a decent option, as is Bailey Smith against Melbourne. Although, again, I don't think Melbourne's midfield has been too bad in terms of conceding SuperCoach points in recent weeks. So, I mean, Cheezel did just go 133, though. So, I think Bailey Smith is a fine vice-captain option. I think it's very hard to go past Jackson against Bailey Williams, who I'll give him a bit of credit. He's improved a bit this year, but this Jackson record against Fremantle, 165, 123, 125. I think earlier in 25 he had like a 190 or something. He scored 165 against them. Oh yeah, that was at round 3. Yeah. So I'm pretty keen on Jackson. The form hasn't been great, but I'll back him to bounce back. He's more than capable. Carlton and Gold Coast, don't think there's anyone there worth doing. Could go around if you're feeling frisky, but I think it's too cute. Hawthorn Essendon, don't think there's anyone in there that's worth putting the vice captain on. Should be a good matchup for the Hawks, even though Essendon have finally won a game for the first time in forever. But Hawks players just don't seem to have that big of a ceiling. More of a lot of players that will score like high 80s rather than players that will break like that 150 mark. GWS and Sydney, I don't think there's anyone worth going for there. Heaney, if you really feel like it, but probably not. Bont against Richmond, that's a very solid option. If there isn't any more of a standout, then he's going to be the captain. Ed Richards as well, if you had him. If you want to go a bit more pod, he has monstered some easy games in the past, so don't mind Richards as a pod option. Brisbane against Port. Yeah, if you had a Brisbane mid, you could go there. If you went Ashcroft last week, then you'd be disappointed, but Port with now no Joe Richards. I guess Horn Francis comes back, but no Butters either. It could be a good kill for Neil and Ashcroft. And then Sheasel against St Kilda. Will he get some attention from Garcia, or will that be more of a run with, or head-to-head? I'm not too sure. Sheasel's probably fine. Could also get tagged by Windhager, although Windhager, I think, has been playing more defence. Would I go Marshall against Sherry? Probably not. I definitely won't be going Sherry in this form. Could you go Nasira against North? I don't think I would go there just with the tag risk last game of the round. I think that's more a VC option rather than a C option. So, yeah, I think Bonta's a standout. He's going to be the fallback and then pick someone with a high ceiling for the VC. So, I think I'm leaning towards Jackson. I think Smith and Dacos are both fine as well. Brayshaw could even be a sneaky VC, but yeah, I think Jackson's just the way I'm going to go. But if I had my choice of like any two players in the comb, it would be Gorn into Bontempelli. Yeah, there's some decent options floating around if you don't have Gorn. Like, yeah, I think Jackson's fine. If you wanted to do VC Bont into a Brisbane midfielder as well, I think that's a pretty solid fallback. So, yeah, I think that's the way I would go for captaincy. All right, I'll sum things up here. As per usual, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you for the next video.